The idea of this is that foreign aid often goes into these countries, and there's a solution that works for a couple years, and then there's no one there to maintain and repair these solutions. So this is an example of a very simple device that we usually implement in one of our first workshops when working with communities. That's a handheld maize sheller, and it can be made out of scrap metal that can be found in almost any village across the world. So about Tanzania. Over 80% of the Tanzanian population lives in poverty on $2 or less a day. They have about 1/80th of our GDP per capita. And many of these people are smallholder farmers that lack access to basic technology, such as lamps to read at night, or basic farm processing technology. And it doesn't look like the future holds any magic solution for Tanzanians, because over 50% of youth drop out of school before high school. And Bernard is a really inspiring individual. He's a Tanzanian inventor who previously was a bicycle mechanic and electrician, and then he participated in a D-Lab community workshop and decided this is what he wants to do, and he wants to create technologies that help people in the village that he comes from. So Bernard, the reason that he's such an amazing inventor, especially for this type of invention, is that he knows the local context because he lives there and has lived there his entire life. Secondly, he's been trained as an electrician and bicycle mechanic, so he knows kind of the mechanics around making very low-cost technologies. And also, he's just a very innately talented person in terms of making something out of nothing. He takes recycled materials and makes something that could take us about a year to design at D-Lab, and he creates it in a month. So it's really inspiring being around him because he's this like amazing, just innately amazing inventor. So our approach is threefold. First, we hope to engage communities through student and community workshops. So as I said earlier, we inspire people to get involved by teaching classes. So we partner with local schools, and the students participate, come to ISA, our workshop, and they participate in these classes. Also, we travel to different communities and lead workshops on how to create your own technological solutions. Secondly, Bernard creates his own devices. And some examples of these are the bicycle-powered cell phone charger up there. Another one is a solar-powered water heater, which is the second picture up there. And I had the opportunity to use that device when I stayed with Bernard over the summer. And the story behind this is Bernard came to the US, and he took a hot shower for the first time and was like, wow, this is awesome. I want to take a hot shower when I go back to Tanzania. So he went back and using recycled fluorescent light bulb tubes and glass and some tin, he created his own device that heats up water to up to 60 degrees centigrade, which is very hot. And so this is a device that we're trying to disseminate around his local community. Oh, and thirdly, we hope to be a space for community-based innovation. So much like D-Lab in Cambridge, we hope to provide resources to aspiring entrepreneurs and inventors so that they can make their own technologies. So once they take a course at ISA, they'll be able to come to our lab and use our tools to create their own technologies. So this past summer, I returned to Tanzania through a public service center grant, and I want to highlight two things that I did. First is I helped broaden ISA's school network. So this is a picture of Edmund Rice Primary School, which is the primary school located in Bernard's village. And students there will now participate in a workshop for 2 hours a week where they learn how to build these technologies. The first project is going to be to build a hand-washing facility for outside the outhouses at their school, where there previously was no facility. So as you can imagine, this was a huge sanitation concern, having no place to wash your hands after you go to the bathroom, and now this is something their school will have. Secondly, Bernard, while I was there, was making this motorcycle-powered multi-crop thresher, which was another iteration on D-Lab's multi-crop thresher. And this device is really inspiring because it allows smallholder farmers to thresh rice at a throughput similar to industrial technology. Also, the act of threshing rice is very painstaking. So it involves smacking stalks of rice against the ground until each grain falls off. So when we interviewed farmers, many of whom were older, said that they outsourced this labor to casual laborers, and they actually lost up to half of their profits because of this. So this device would allow these farmers to process rice much more efficiently and at a much cheaper price so they can compete with with medium and larger farms. So I like to conclude with a story. So I lived with Bernard during my last month in Tanzania, and every day we'd walk about an hour to work, and along the way we'd stop and greet about everyone we saw. And as a Bostonian, this is not something I was used to. Here we kind of get in our zone and we walk, maybe say hi to a couple friends, but there, literally every person we saw, we'd say hi. And this was very different for me. And I think what I realized, at first I was annoyed because, a walk that could take a half hour was taking an hour and sometimes 2 hours. But then I realized, this is something that's really important when you live in poverty, because community acts as the buffer for the pernicious effects of poverty. And so one time we stopped. It was because Bernard met a neighbor who had a sick son, and he could give him advice about how to treat this illness. And we spent about 20 minutes talking, and I realized when you're someone who lives in poverty and has to deal with these issues, your community around you is your support system. And so this is a picture of Claudia, Bernard's daughter. And even though she's growing up in a place where she has limited access to electricity, poor quality of healthcare and education, she is living in a place that she will feel cared for, supported, and loved because she lives in a place with a strong sense of community. And this is something I hope to use for future research, seeing how facilitating interconnectedness within a community can mitigate some of the pernicious effects of poverty. So lastly, if you're interested in getting involved, please reach out to me. MIT is a place with a lot of talent, and it'd be great to get more people to help out with this. Thank you.